Good evening. This is Reverend Manuel. This is my first video, and I was led to share with you about Out on a Limb, Luke 19, 1 through 10. I'm reading from the New NIV version. Start at verse 19. Jesus entered Jericho and was passing through. A man was there by the name of Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and was wealthy. He wanted to see who Jesus was. By being a short man, he could not because of the crowd. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore fig tree to see him, since Jesus was coming that way. When Jesus reached the spot, he looked up and said to him, Zacchaeus, come down immediately. I must stay in at your house today. So he came down at once and welcomed him gladly. All the people saw this and began to murmur. He has gone to be a guest of the sinners. But Zacchaeus stood up and said to the Lord, Look, Lord, here and now I give half of my possessions to the poor. If I have cheated anyone out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount. Now let's see what Jesus said. He said, Today salvation has come into this house, because the man too is the son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and to save what was lost. Hallelujah. Out on a limb. As a girl, I used to climb trees. Don't look like it right now, but I used to climb trees in the backyard, and I would look all across the area where I could see it. My daddy said, come down out of that tree, girl, you know. But sometimes I would get stuck on the limb more than once until I figured out the best way to negotiate a painful descent. It didn't take long to cut, was going up a lot easier than coming down. I got up easier, but it was hard for me to come down. But some people choose to get stuck out on a limb. Hallelujah. And, have you ever felt like you were stuck out on a limb? Perhaps you take a moral stand and suddenly find yourself stuck out on a limb all by yourself. Someone asks you to take a part in something, and you stand up and you talk up for them, and you look around, you don't want by yourself, and that's a bad thing. You stuck out on a limb. Or maybe you took a risk to reach out to someone in need and found yourself stuck out on a limb of rejection. Maybe you took some of your money and bought somebody something, and then they ended up they was supposed to be your friend, and they got what they wanted and left you holding a bag, stuck out on a limb. Most of us don't like limb sitting. Trees don't make comfortable seats, and if you get too far, it can be rather dangerous. That you go wonder, is that limb gonna hold you up or not? Sometimes the limb did break. Me and being a big girl, the limb did break, and I still had something to hold on to. Hallelujah. The Bible tells about a man who was out on a limb because nobody wanted him around. So he was a short man, so he had to go up in the tree to get away from the crowd. And he was a guy that people loved to hate. They just hated on him all the time because he was a tax collector. And he worked for the enemy, took the hard-earned money of his courtmen, and lived like a fat cat, they said. But though he was Jewish, he worked as a tax collector for the despised Roman government. He just had a job, and he was working as a Roman tax collector. He no wonder the residents of Jericho, they avoided Zacchaeus like a bird, like they just a bird flu pandemic. When everybody when they had about the bird flu, everybody tried to look up in the tree and see what the bird going fall on them. Everybody got scared of the bird. But the first thing was Jesus was just passing through. Now, near the end of earthly ministry, Jesus passed through Jericho one last time on his way to Jerusalem. Now, let's look at verse 1. Suggests his intention wasn't to spend time there, but he was just passing through. Now, while on his journey, Jesus had taken the disciples aside and warned them concerning what will occur once they reach Jerusalem. But Jesus decided in detail what would happen to the Son of Man, meaning himself. he would still be handed over to the Romans to be mobbed, treated shamefully, and spit upon. They whip him and kill him, but on the third day he will rise again. But for those of us living on the side of the cross, we clearly understand that what we are repentance. For the disciples who still thought of a return restored earthly kingdom, they must have created a lot of confusion. Well, no doubt Jesus was gracious to Miss Zacchaeus, but he informed her and her slightly son that they had no clue what was they was talking, they was asking, and said they was clueless about what was yet to take place. However, the rest of the disciples were not clueless about the nature of this request, and they was ticked. Hallelujah, because he wanted to go and eat at the sinner's house. And Jesus in the verse Matthew 20 and 23rd verse, Jesus said that